Hello, and welcome to the third video of this three-part series about helping you prepare to pursue a career in healthcare. In the previous two videos, we went over several resources available for supporting pre-health students, the courses typically required by health professions programs, and information regarding GPAs. In this video, I will describe other criteria health profession programs consider when evaluating applicants to their program. So why do I refer to this as the applicant profile? What is that? Really, the phrase applicant profile is used to encourage pre-health students to approach their preparation for professional programs holistically. People are not one-dimensional and cannot be defined solely by one achievement or experience. Similarly, applicants to health professions programs are not defined by GPA and test scores alone. These are important, but there are multiple factors health profession programs consider when selecting whom to offer admissions to. I like to think of the applicant profile as a puzzle with multiple pieces that, when put together, present a person with the potential to become a compassionate, intelligent, and dedicated healthcare professional. The puzzle pieces you see represent broad areas that contribute to applicants' success. They are not items to check off along the journey, but things that are continuously worked on throughout it. Now we'll dive a little deeper into the pieces of an applicant profile. So starting with academic achievement, we went over that a bit in the second video, went over calculating GPAs and how to do that. And obviously, a high GPA is generally the goal. But the other components to think about are GPA trends. Is the GPA going up over the period of time? Is it going down or is it fluctuating up and down? So the trending downward or the fluctuation shows signs that there may be some concerns about a student's aptitude and ability to do well in the health profession program. It's going to be a rigorous period of study, and so programs want to see that students have a solid, positive trend in their GPA, especially in science classes as they're coming into any program. So they're looking for that consistency and the positivity in a trend. And then they're also going to look at the professional exam scores. So the MCAT is for medical, both allopathic and osteopathic schools, sometimes for vet med schools. DAT is for dental schools. OAT is for optometry, and PCAT is for pharmacy if the schools require it. And then you may want to look at personal characteristics. And so these are things that hopefully you're demonstrating in a lot of different aspects of your life, but they'd be things like being able to see that a person is mature, that they work well on a team with other people. So part of that goes along with working well in a team is being able to communicate well. Something that works along with maturity and responsibility is discernment. Are you able to assess the situation and then make good judgment calls, make good decisions based on context and what's happening in the moment? It can hopefully demonstrate that you have compassion, that you're in the field to help serve people. Right? And again, I mentioned the rigors of academia and school, but also when you become a person who's working in the field, you need to be able to manage high stress levels and be able to function through that and have healthy coping mechanisms just because there's going to be a lot that you're going to have to take in. And then other characteristics, there are many, but another would be to be self aware. Know when you need help, know how to ask for that, know when you need support or when you can stand and do things on your own, right? Um, some other things that we look at are motivation. So at the core of it, it's why are you wanting to pursue the field that you're in, right? Or that you're hoping to pursue. It's also demonstrating a commitment to having been active in the field. So not a situation where maybe you volunteered in a hospital in high school, but haven't done anything since and are suddenly applying to a health profession program, but it's showing that you've been consistent in either clubs and student orgs you've been involved in, or work or volunteer opportunities you've had to stay in and related to that setting. Some of it also shows if you care about this subject, hopefully you're taking the time to learn about it, and that when you go into interviews, when you meet with people, you have a realistic understanding of the career. Um, and current events that are going on in it, and also that, going back to being self-aware, that you've assessed your fit in that career, and that although you want it, you've also kind of vetted it to make sure that it is a good fit for you and you are a good fit for it. Okay. And on to our next sets. Experiences. So this is really broad and can refer to things like research, volunteer work, student organization participation, your own employment, maybe you're on a sports team. There's a lot of different experiences and activities that you have outside of school, and all of those are important, partially because it shows what's important to you and what you care about. So some people will say that where your time is spent shows where your heart is. And so for schools, programs that are learning about you, that's one way to kind of gauge what your interests are, what you're passionate about, what populations you care for, right? Um, but the other important thing about experiences is aside from having learning the knowledge specific to that job, is thinking about then those skills and qualities that your experiences are helping to develop in you that are going to make you an excellent PA or physical therapist or doctor in the future. So you want to think about some of those soft skills that you're gaining in terms of being able to work with diverse populations, learning to communicate better, um, learning to work within an organization, maybe showing leadership goals, but also learning how to compromise. There's a lot of these skills that you're in practice in these different experiences. So you want to kind of keep that in mind too. And then clinical exposure. And so, what I mean by that is being present in the the clinic environment or the healthcare providing environment that you hope to be working in someday. Become familiar with the sights, the sounds, the smells of the healthcare facilities, and make sure that you're going to be okay with that. That's something that isn't going to upset you too much or make you feel ill, that again you're able to cope with that environment too, and some of that is balancing the stress in those environments. The other thing is that hopefully, if you're in a clinic setting, whether it's as an employee or as a volunteer, maybe you're shadowing for time, you also hopefully get a chance to observe the clinician or the healthcare staff member that you're working with or that you're able to observe and see how they work in that environment with other healthcare professionals, with their interactions with their patients, and also being able to see some of the daily duties, the things that are exciting and the things that are not so fun, just so you're getting a very realistic understanding of the field that you're interested in. And again, goes back to, is that a good fit for you? Based on what you want to do, what you're interested in, or how you kind of function in environments, right? And then another part of this puzzle is what is known about you shared by others and yourself. So, letters of recommendation are important. Your personal statement is important. For letters of recommendation, you should choose authors who know you well. And so that could mean this is a professor that you've worked with, someone that you've been in research with. Maybe as you're looking for faculty, maybe it could be um, a postdoc or a teaching assistant who can co-author the letter with the faculty member or the PI, because they're the ones who were working with you most closely, and not so much the faculty, but the faculty is needs to support that letter. Right? There are other things that you should think of too in letters of recommendation, that it's someone who can hopefully say more than you were a student in their class and earned an A, or that you're a good employee, you were never late, right? Hopefully it's, having people that know you from different roles in your life, so that they can comment on your skills and qualities from their perspective and your role as a student or an employee or a research assistant, things like that. Or someone who is a volunteer in a clinic setting and how you're interacting with patients, what your bedside manner is like. Okay. So you want to be able to have someone who gets to know you and can actually comment personally on things they've observed about you, strengths that you have. You want to have a wide variety of people, so typically faculty, science and non-science faculty, a clinician in your intended field, and then potentially work or volunteer supervisors, your research PI, etc. The one thing you want to keep in mind with letters of rec is that some programs or professions are strict about how many letters of recommendation that they'll allow in the application. So some it can be up to six, some it's as few as four. So you also want to be judicious in figuring out who can write you a strong letter and helping provide them the information that they need to be able to do that for you or to interact with you to learn more about your goals and pair that with what they know of you. And then goes to your personal statement. Really, again, this just enhances your application and the letter of recommendation to share information about you, to basically flesh you out beyond what's in the application that you've submitted. And so, this is why we refer back to the puzzle pieces. There's so many components that make up your profile as an applicant, and everyone is unique. And so, your experiences, your exposures to things, the people you interact with are all going to be unique to you. And this is where you want to be able to then look at yourself as an applicant and the strengths that you have and where they all come from. So, again, it's not checking things off of a box, and there may be other categories here that I didn't cover that you think are relevant to your profile. And so, those are things that you would want to involve as well. Okay. But that just gives you a little bit of insight into some of the things that you want to think about. Again, it's really just reminding you that it's not always about just grades and exam scores, right? A lot of weight gets put on that. It is something that's highlighted when students are looking up potential programs. However, it is not the only thing. So that's important to note. Okay. So that wraps up this series of videos, and congratulations, you have begun your journey towards pursuing a health professions career. And what's next now? Hopefully, you'll be able to utilize the resources in the video that you saw, explore those websites and the different resources that were shown in the first video. Create an academic plan and talk to an advisor in the BioSci Dunlop School Student Affairs Office and make a plan for what you're going to be doing next in terms of courses, how you're going to acquire them, which ones you need. And then explore opportunities in research, clinical experiences, student orgs. You want to make sure that you have a solid foundation in your academics first, but then it is important to gain these other experiences to broaden yourself and also just balance, find life balance between what you're doing for school and having a life outside of that. So thank you so much for your attention to these. I hope you found the videos helpful and that you are able to reference the many resources that are available on campus and off campus to help you on your journey.